Okay, we are live. I'm going to remove us. And then 5 seconds and you can begin, Doctor.
Good luck.
Thank you. In the next 10 minutes, I will talk on why does the type of lipid matter for ICU patients. The management of patients in ICU has many aspects. In these patients, there is an increased catabolism, anabolic resistance, and mitochondrial dysfunction. Among the treatment modalities, nutrition has a major role, and lipids are an important and concentrated source of energy. Are all lipid emulsions same? The answer is definitely no. Although all lipids yield the same amount of energy, they have different effects on inflammation, immunity, lipid peroxidation, liver dysfunction, and finally on patient outcome. Let me summarize the biochemistry of lipids in few slides. Lipids are an important source of energy. The lipids used in parenteral nutrition contain fatty acids in the form of triglycerides. A triglyceride consists of 3 fatty acid molecules bonded to a glycerol molecule. There are many different classifications of fatty acids. According to degree of saturation, fatty acids are divided into 3. Saturated fatty acids has no double bonds in carbon chain. As an example, stearic acid. Monounsaturated fatty acids has 1 double bond in carbon chain. A typical example is oleic acid or olive oil. And finally, polyunsaturated fatty acids have 2 or more double bonds in carbon chain. As an example, linoleic acid, which has 2 double bonds. An important subgroup of fatty acids is essential fatty acids. These fatty acids cannot be synthesized in the body and must therefore come from our diet. 2 important essential fatty acids are linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid. An important phenomenon in the ICU patient is oxidative stress and lipid peroxidation. Oxidative stress occurs when there is an imbalance between reactive oxygen species production and antioxidant systems. Secondary to many pathologies, including infection and SIRS, many patients quickly develop oxidative stress. The generation of free radicals result in damage to lipids, proteins, and DNA. Oleic acid has only 1 double bond, and this makes it less prone to lipid peroxidation. In addition to that, metabolism of oleic acid does not produce eicosanoids, and this renders oleic acid to be inflammatory neutral. Let me summarize some of the basic characteristics of lipids. Soybean oil is a good source for essential fatty acids, and it has pro-inflammatory effects. Medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, are less pro-inflammatory and they can be easily oxidized. Olive oil is immune neutral and resistant to lipid peroxidation. And finally, fish oil has anti-inflammatory properties. This is a nice study coming from China, which was performed in more than 450 patients. The patients are divided into 2 groups. One group received olive oil-based parenteral nutrition, which is shown as green, and the other group received soybean oil-based parenteral nutrition, which is shown as orange in this slide. The results of this randomized study showed that olive oil-based parenteral nutrition group was associated with significantly fewer infections when compared to soybean oil-based group. Now, I would like to share a recent meta-analysis with you omega-3 fatty acid enriched parenteral nutrition in ICU patients. This meta-analysis included 24 randomized controlled trials and more than 1,400 patients. The authors compared the clinical outcomes of fish oil and standard parenteral nutrition group. These analyses demonstrate that fish oil or omega-3 fatty acid containing parenteral nutrition is associated with statistically and clinically significant improvement in patient outcomes. When we look this meta-analysis in detail, infection rates in ICU patients decreased significantly, favoring omega-3 fatty acids, and length of ICU stay was reduced about 2 days, favoring again fish oil. Now, I would like to draw your attention to a review study performed by our group, Fish Oil Containing Lipid Emulsions in Adult Parenteral Nutrition, a review of evidence. The main objective in this review was to examine the quality of fish oil papers. Key endpoints were effects on inflammation and immune response, sepsis and infection, and general clinical outcomes. Interestingly, in this review, we found that 76% of the investigated studies had very low quality of evidence. Most studies were underpowered, used inappropriate statistical methods, and lacked details on study protocols and methodology. And I think that we have to be very skeptical about these fish oil studies. In the last part of my talk, I would like to share major guidelines with you. There are two major guidelines for nutrition in ICU, Osman guidelines and SPAN guidelines. Osman suggests withholding or limiting soybean-based lipid emulsions during the first week following initiation of PN in the critically ill patients. In other words, Osman suggests no use of fish oil, no use of soybean oil in the first week in the ICU. And also, Osman suggests that immune modulating formulas not be used routinely in patients with severe sepsis. What about SPAN guidelines? Actually, SPAN guidelines are similar to that of Osman guidelines, and 2019 SPAN guidelines recommend high doses omega-3 enriched enteral formulas should not be given on a routine basis. Dear colleagues, I would like to conclude my talk with my last slide. All lipids are not same, and the major difference of lipid solutions is their effect on immune system. In the critically ill patients, soybean-based lipid emulsions may interfere with immune function and may have deleterious effects. Fish oil has anti-inflammatory properties, which may be advantageous or disadvantageous depending on the condition of the patient. And finally, immunological and inflammatory neutrality and limitation of lipid peroxidation are the major advantages of olive oil-based intravenous lipid emulsions. Thank you.
That was great. Irvin, are you happy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult topic, and you summed it up so concisely. Well done. Thank you.
9 minutes.
Yes.
That was brilliant. Well done.
First take.
First take was good. Yes, indeed. So, and it was very clear, systematic, and we'll be able to animate the slides and bring it in nicely at the various intervals. So very well done. Thanks.
Can I proceed with the second one?
But I think, will we go to the other studio link, or will you continue?
We don't have to. We can do it from here.